I signed the final papers and said, "This is it." Daniel nodded. "Mutual, respectful." I looked at him. "No anger?" "None," he said. "Only clarity." I laughed softly. I never thought I'd say that about divorce. He smiled faintly. Neither did I. I asked, "Will you be okay?" "I always will," he said. "You taught me patience." "You taught me honesty," I replied. He shifted slightly. "Our lives are our own now." "Yes," I said. "Finally." Laura knocked on the door. "Are we celebrating or crying?" I smiled. "Neither, just breathing." She laughed lightly. "That works." Daniel said, "You've changed." I had to, I admitted. I wasn't living. I was surviving everyone else's lies. "You survived," he said, "and you're free." I paused. I always thought freedom was about leaving, but it's choosing yourself. Laura said softly, "You deserve that." I nodded. And for the first time, I believe it. Daniel added, "We leave this behind without bitterness." I looked out the window. I hope no one else gets hurt like we did. "You can't control that," Daniel said. "Only yourself." I breathed deeply. Then, I choose me. Laura smiled. "It's a start." I packed my bags and said, "New city, new life." Daniel asked, "Will you come back?" I shook my head. "Not as the same man." He nodded. "Then go fully." I stepped outside. The air was different, clean, unclaimed. Laura said, "Take care of yourself." "I will," I said. Daniel added, "Remember the truth we found." "I will," I replied. On the way to the airport, I thought of my parents, Emily, and the years lost. I whispered, "I survived. That's victory enough." Laura's voice came through my phone. "Healing takes time." "I have all I need," I said. The plane rose. I stared out the window. I said softly, "I didn't win by hurting them." Daniel's message appeared. "Act, you won by surviving." "Mar," I smiled, feeling the weight lift. "I won by surviving," I whispered again. The city lights faded below. My past became small. I closed my eyes, and I am free. Laura texted, "Future is yours." Or typed back, "I know." The horizon glowed, calm and endless. I breathed in deep. No regrets, only choice. Daniel's last message, "Turkey, see you, friend." I smiled faintly. "Friend?" I said aloud. And for the first time, I was just me. No lies, no chains, no sacrifice. Only life I finally chose. I sat on the porch, watching the sun dip below the rooftops and said, "It's quiet now." Daniel rolled beside me. "Too quiet?" "No," I said. "Just different." He asked, "Do you miss the chaos?" I shook my head. I miss nothing. My phone buzzed. A message from Emily. I opened it. "I'm sorry," it said. I typed back slowly. "I know." She replied instantly. "Can we talk?" I stared at the screen. "No," I whispered. Daniel asked, "You're not going to reply?" "I don't forgive her," I said, "but I can let her go." He nodded. "That's freedom." I leaned back. "It feels empty." Laura called from the kitchen. "Are you eating?" "I will," I said. "Later." Daniel said, "Your parents are facing consequences now." "I heard," I replied. "Court, social fallout. They finally understand fear." He added, "And Emily?" "She's out there," I said, "alone with her choices." I closed my eyes. I spent years trying to fix everything. Now I fix nothing. You've grown, he said softly. You're different. I'm not weaker, I said. Just awake. Daniel's eyes were steady. It suits you. I laughed quietly. It feels strange. You survived, he said, and changed. I nodded. I won't let anyone manipulate me again. My phone buzzed again, a friend checking in. I ignored it. Daniel asked, "Are you afraid?" No, I said, not anymore. Laura brought tea. You look better, she said. I smiled faintly. I feel better. She glanced at Daniel. You two make a strange pair. I guess, I said, but it works. Daniel said, I'll leave soon. My work here is done. I nodded. I understand. He asked, will you be okay? I will, I said, because I choose to be. Daniel rolled quietly. I'll miss this. I won't forget you, I said. You don't have to, he said. Just live. I leaned back and watched the sky darken. Live, yes. My phone buzzed again. Another message from Emily. I read it once, then deleted it. That felt good, I said. Daniel nodded. That's letting go. I whispered, I don't forgive her, but I release her. Laura smiled. You're learning balance. I said, justice isn't always sweet. But it's right, Daniel said. I looked at him, and I finally understand that. He smiled faintly. You've changed more than anyone knows. I said, I hope I never go back. I don't think you will, he said. The wind brushed my face. I won't be the man I was, I said. And that's enough, Daniel replied. I closed my eyes. It is enough. For the first time, I felt peace, not victory. And it was mine. I breathed in deeply. I am free. I stood at the head of the table and said, thank you all for coming. My mother forced a smile. Why does this feel like a trial? My father said, sit down. I will, I said, after I speak. Daniel rolled beside me and said, I'm standing today. The room went quiet. Emily stepped in late, eyes red. I didn't know he'd invite everyone. I looked at her. You ran, then hid. She whispered, I was scared. I said, so was I. My father snapped, enough drama. I held up my phone. This is your voice. He froze. What are you doing? I pressed play. His words filled the room. Lies, numbers, orders. My mother covered her mouth. Turn that off. Not yet, I said. Daniel added, there's more. Mr. Harris stood. Bank records. Papers slid across the table. My uncle asked, is this real? Yes, I said. All of it. My father stood. You're betraying us. I replied, you taught me how. Emily fell to her knees. Please, I didn't mean it. I looked down at her. You planned it. She cried, I was desperate. So was I said. She grabbed my leg. Forgive me. I gently stepped back. No. My mother shouted, how can you be so cold? I said, you called it discipline. Daniel stood fully upright. Gasps followed. My father whispered, you can walk. Daniel said, I always could. Silence crushed the room. I said, you controlled him. My mother shook. We helped him. You owned him, I said. Emily sobbed. I didn't know it would go this far. You signed, I said. She whispered, I trusted them. I answered, So did I. My father shouted, "You owe us." I smiled calmly. Nothing. My voice didn't shake. Guests stared. Phones lifted. I said, "I was raised to obey." Daniel added, "And I was trained to pretend." Emily cried, "Say something." My mother collapsed into a chair. I said, "I am." I turned to the room. I gave my life to keep peace. My father said, "You were weak." I replied, "I was loyal." Daniel said, "There's a difference." My mother whispered, "We did our best." I answered, "Your best broke me." Emily crawled closer. "Take me back." I said, "I won't replace you anymore." She screamed, "I'm your sister." "And I was your shield," I said. Daniel placed a hand on my shoulder. "He's done." Mr. Harris said, "Authorities have copies." My father slumped. "You planned this." I said, "You taught me patience." My mother cried, "Please stop." I shook my head. "I already did." The room buzzed with whispers and shame. Emily looked up. "Do you hate me?" I paused. "No." Her face lit briefly. "I just don't trust you," I finished. She broke. My father said quietly, "You win." I replied, "This isn't a game." Daniel said, "It's an ending." I took a breath. I speak now because I can. No one interrupted. "I was never invisible," I said. "You just chose not to see me." I walked toward the door. Daniel followed, standing tall. Behind me, everything I feared collapsed. Ahead of me, my voice stayed steady. And for the first time, it was mine. I sat across from Daniel and said, "They're calling lawyers now." He asked, "Your parents?" "Yes," I said. "Banks too." He nodded. Mr. Harris warned them quietly. Laura stepped in and said, "No shouting, no threats." I replied, "That's what I wanted." She said, "You wanted control, not chaos." I looked at Daniel. "I feel guilty watching this." He said, "Guilt means you still care." My phone rang. My father said, "Do you know what you've done?" I answered, "I stopped lying for you." He snapped, "We protected this family." "You used me to do it?" I said. Silence followed. Then the line went dead. Daniel said, "They feel it slipping." Days passed slowly. Documents moved. Accounts froze. Doors closed. Laura said, "He stood today without pain." I watched Daniel rise carefully. "You're stronger." He replied, "So are you." I said, "I don't panic anymore." Laura smiled. "That's growth." Emily texted me. "He left." I asked, "Who left?" She wrote, "The man I ran away with." I stared at the screen. "Why?" "He said I was expensive," she replied. Daniel said quietly, "Karma prefers patience." Emily called, crying, "I need help." I said, "From me?" "You always fix things," she said. I answered, "I'm done fixing you." She screamed, "You're heartless." I replied, "I'm finally honest." She hung up. I sat still. That hurt more than I expected. Daniel said, "Pain fades when truth stays." Laura added, "Don't let this turn you cold." I nodded. "I don't want revenge." Daniel asked, "What do you want instead?" "Freedom," I said. Mr. Harris arrived and said, "They're scared now." I asked. Of jail? Daniel said. Let it unfold. Of exposure, he said. I agreed, slowly. My mother texted, come home now. I typed, no. Daniel stood fully upright. You see this? Yes, I said. You don't need the chair. Not always, he replied. Laura warned, don't rush recovery. I said, I won't rush anything. That night, I watched the city lights dim. Daniel said, they're losing control. I answered, and I'm gaining mine. Laura said, remember who you are. I replied, I'm becoming someone new. Daniel smiled, free. I breathed deeply. I don't need to destroy them. He said, you already escaped. I closed my eyes and felt peace arrive quietly, finally, without fear or anger, knowing karma didn't need my hands, only my patience and silence. I paced the living room and said, we could end this today. Daniel looked up. And then what? They fall, I said, publicly. And you? He asked. I stopped. I don't know. He said, that answer matters. I ran my hands through my hair. I want them to hurt. I know, he said. They train that feeling. I didn't ask to be trained, I snapped. No, he said. You agreed to it. That stung. I was loyal. Loyalty without limits is obedience, he replied. I sank onto the chair, so I exposed them. He said, that's rage. What's the alternative? I asked. Patience, he said. I laughed bitterly. They don't deserve patience. They don't, he agreed. You do. I looked at him. You sound calm for someone betrayed. I waited years, he said. Waiting taught me control. I don't want to become like them, I said. Then don't react like them, he replied. My phone buzzed. A message from my father. Come by tomorrow. We need to talk. Daniel asked, will you? Yes, I said, but not how he expects. The next day, I stood in my childhood living room. My father said, sit, sit. I didn't. Why did you hide things from me? He frowned. What things? Daniel's condition, I said. He waved a hand. Doctors exaggerate. So do liars, I replied. His jaw tightened. Watch your tone. I watched my life disappear, I said. He leaned forward. You owe this family. I nodded. You taught me that. His eyes softened. Good. I smiled slightly. I learned something else too. What? He asked. How to wait, I said. He scoffed. Waiting is weakness. I said, so is panic. He stared at me. What are you implying? Nothing, I said, yet. I left before he could press me. Outside, Daniel asked, did you see it? Yes, I said, fear. He nodded. Good. That night, my phone buzzed again. Emily texted, I need money. Don't ask questions. I stared at the screen. She didn't even pretend. Daniel read it. That's clarity. I typed no. She replied, you owe me. I answered, I don't. Daniel said, send nothing else. I obeyed. I said, I always rushed to save her. And she learned to fall on purpose, he replied. I swallowed. I was useful. You still are, he said, but now for yourself. I asked, how do we do this? Slowly, he said. Document everything. And if I explode? I asked. Then you lose, he said. I closed my eyes. I want freedom. Then choose it, he replied. I breathed deeply. I choose patience. Daniel smiled faintly. That's the hardest revenge. I looked at my hands. They were steady. For the first time, I wasn't reacting. I was deciding. And that changed everything. I was pouring water when I heard Laura whisper, "You don't need the chair right now." Daniel replied sharply, "Not here." I froze. My hand shook. What does that mean? I thought. Laura said, "You walked yesterday." He said, "I stood. Don't twist it." That's progress, she insisted. It's dangerous, he replied. I stepped back before they saw me. Later, I shut the bedroom door and said, "Explain." Daniel looked up. "Explain what?" "I heard you," I said. "Both of you." He sighed. "Then sit." "I don't want comfort," I snapped. "I want truth." He nodded. "Fair." I said, "Can you walk?" He answered, "Sometimes." My chest tightened. "Sometimes?" "Yes," he said, with pain. "You told everyone you couldn't," I said. "They told everyone," he corrected. I laughed hollow. "My parents?" "And your sister," he said. I felt sick. "Why?" "For money," he said. "For sympathy. For control." I whispered, "Emily knew?" "She suggested it," he said. I sat down hard. "She let me marry you." "She planned it," he replied. I clenched my fists. "And you?" "I agreed," he said. "Why?" I demanded. "To expose them," he said calmly. My head spun. "You used me." "Yes," he said, "at first." "That's all I am," I said, "a replacement." He said, "You were insurance." That word burned. I stood. "Get out." "I can't," he said. "I don't care," I snapped. He said, "Listen." "No," I said. "You lied." "So did they," he replied. I shouted, "You watched me suffer." He raised his voice. "I watched you wake up." That stopped me. He continued, "Your parents trained you to sacrifice." "Don't analyze me," I said. "I live with liars," he said. "I learned fast." I rubbed my face. "Years," he said. "How long?" "And Laura?" I asked. "She helps me," he said. "She hates them." I laughed bitterly. "Everyone hates them except me." Daniel said, "Not anymore." A knock sounded. Laura peeked in. "You heard?" I said, "Enough." She nodded. "Good." I asked, "How bad is it really?" Daniel said, "Bad enough to hurt." Laura said, "Good enough to stand." I stared at them. "My parents did this?" "Yes," Laura said. "And Emily?" I asked. "She signed papers," Daniel said. My stomach twisted. "What papers?" "Power of attorney," he said. I whispered, "They owned you." "They tried," he said. A voice came from the hallway. "We need to talk." A man stepped in. "I'm Mr. Harris." Daniel said, "Our lawyer." I scoffed. "Of course." Mr. Harris said, "Your family is exposed." I laughed. "I'm the joke." "No," he said. "You're the key." Daniel said, "He doesn't know yet." Mr. Harris said, They planned your role. I whispered, they planned my life. Daniel said, they underestimated you. I shook my head. I trusted them. Mr. Harris said, trust ends today. I looked at Daniel. Why tell me now? He said, because you deserve a choice. What choice? I asked. Revenge, he said, or freedom. I swallowed. And you? I stand with you, he said. I laughed softly. The man in the wheelchair. He said, the man who sees. I felt anger shift, sharp and clear. Then we burn the lies, I said. Daniel smiled. Together. For the first time since the wedding, I wasn't alone. I unlocked the front door and said, this was supposed to be her house. Daniel rolled inside slowly and replied, it still is. No, I said. She abandoned it. He didn't answer. Wheels clicked. Silence followed. I cleared my throat. I'll take the couch. Daniel said, there's a spare room. I don't want your pity, I snapped. He looked at me. I wasn't offering pity. That shut me up. The first morning I asked, do you need help? He said, I manage. I watched him struggle with the kettle. My hands twitched. Daniel. I said I manage, he repeated. I stepped back. Fine. People stared when we went outside. One woman whispered, poor man. Daniel muttered, they never ask my name. I said, they don't see past the chair. They see what comforts them, he replied. At home, I asked, does it bother you? He shrugged. It used to. That bothered me. A nurse arrived that afternoon. I'm Laura, she said. Routine check. She smiled at me. You must be the husband. I stiffened, against my will. Daniel said calmly, he's adjusting. Laura checked his pulse. You're stronger today. He said, am I? She paused. Yes. I watched her face. Stronger how? She said, physically. Daniel changed the subject. Did you eat? Laura raised an eyebrow at me. I said, barely. She smiled. Take care of him. I replied, I didn't choose this. Daniel said, neither did I. That night, I asked, why are you so calm? He answered, anger wastes energy. I'm full of it, I said. I can tell, he replied. I hated that he could. The next days blurred. Breakfast, silence, wheels, words unsaid. I caught myself watching how he counted steps, how his hands never shook. I said, you're not weak. He said, I never claimed I was. Everyone treats you like glass, I said. They fear breaking what they don't understand, he replied. Laura returned. She said, you've improved again. Daniel smiled faintly. Interesting. I asked, improved from what? She hesitated. From before. After she left, I said, something's off. Daniel looked at me. You're observant. Are you lying to me? I asked. He said, about what? About how bad it is, I said. He answered, people hear what they want. I felt a chill. My family lied a lot. He nodded. So did mine. I said, I'm sorry for resenting you. He replied, resentment is honest. I don't want to hate you, I said. You don't, he said. You hate the cage. That night, I couldn't sleep. I said, Daniel. Yes. What aren't you telling me? He was quiet for a long time. Then he said, ask better questions. I stared at the ceiling and realized I had married a stranger who saw me too clearly. And that scared me more than the truth waiting ahead. I sat on the edge of the bed and said, "Emily, answer me," even though the call was already ringing out. Daniel's voice came from behind me. "She won't pick up." "I know," I said. "She never does when it matters." My phone buzzed. A message. Not from her, from my mother. "She ruined everything," I muttered. Daniel asked, "Is that what she always does?" I laughed without humor. "No, she lets me clean it up." I called again. "Emily, please, just tell me why." The line went dead. I stared at the screen. She turned it off. Daniel said, "Or she blocked you." "That sounds like her," I replied. My mother burst in. "Did she contact you?" "No," I said. "Did she contact you?" She crossed her arms. "You should have watched her better." I stood up. "She's not a child." "She is when she runs," my mother snapped. I said, "She planned this." My mother said, "Don't defend her." "I'm not," I said. "I'm explaining." Daniel stayed quiet. I felt his eyes on me. I said, "Emily and I used to share everything." My mother scoffed. "You always say that." "She told me her secrets," I said, "her fears." Daniel asked softly, "Did she tell you about leaving?" "No," I said. "She promised me she wouldn't." My phone finally rang. Emily's name flashed. I answered fast. "Where are you?" She sighed. "Don't yell." "I married your fiancé," I said. "You ran." She said, "I didn't ask you to do that." "You left me no choice," I replied. She laughed. "You always say that." My hands shook. "I gave up my job for you once." She said, "I never asked." "I paid your debts," I said. "I fought our parents." "You like being the hero," she said. Daniel shifted behind me. I said, "I like keeping my family together." She said, "You like control." "That's a lie," I said. She answered, "Then why do I feel free now?" I swallowed. "Where are you staying?" "Somewhere I'm not judged," she said. I asked, "What about Daniel?" She paused. "He'll survive." I said, "You used him." She said, "You used him too." The line went silent. I lowered the phone. "She doesn't care." My mother said, "She never did." I snapped. "You raised her." My mother slapped the doorframe. "You were supposed to guide her." "I'm not her keeper," I said. Daniel spoke. She sounded sure. "That scares me," I admitted. My mother said, "You embarrassed us." I laughed. She disappeared. "You stood there," my mother replied. Daniel asked me, "Do you regret it?" I said, "Every second." He nodded. "Regret is honest." I looked at him. "You don't hate me?" He said, "I don't know you yet." That felt worse. My mother said, "Stop talking like this is temporary." I asked, "What do you mean?" "You're married," she said. "Act like it." I turned to Daniel. "This wasn't your plan." He said, "Plans change." I asked, "What do you see when you look at me?" He answered, "Someone carrying other people's weight." I sat down hard. "I'm tired." Daniel said, "So am I." My phone buzzed again. A message from Emily. "Take care of them. I'm choosing myself." I showed it to Daniel. She chose. He read it. "And you didn't." I whispered, "Not yet." My mother said, "Delete that message." I locked my phone. "No." Daniel watched me closely. I said, "She ran. and I stayed. Daniel replied, "Staying changes people." I didn't answer. That night, I realized my sister didn't betray me by leaving. She betrayed me by letting me take her place. I stood at the altar, staring at the empty space where my sister should have been, and my mother whispered, "Smile. People are watching." "I can't do this," I said. "Emily is gone." My father hissed, "You will do this. This family does not get humiliated today." I looked at the guests. Faces blurred. Whispers cut my skin. "She left me," I muttered. "She left all of us." My mother grabbed my arm. "You're her brother. You fix things." "I always fix things," I swallowed. "Where is she?" "Does it matter?" my father said. "The vows are ready." I turned to the wheelchair beside me. Daniel sat still, hands folded, eyes lowered. I said quietly, "I'm sorry." He looked up. "You don't have to be." That hurt more than anger. I'm not the one she was supposed to marry. "She chose not to come," he said. "That choice ended something." The officiant cleared his throat. "Shall we proceed?" "I need time," I said. My mother shook her head. "We need you." I laughed, sharp and broken. "You need a replacement." My father leaned close. "You will protect this family name." "What about my life?" I asked. "You're strong," my mother said. "Emily was weak." I felt heat behind my eyes. "You raised us." Daniel spoke again. "If you walk away, they'll blame me." I met his gaze. "This isn't your fault." "It will be," he said. "People decide fast." The room felt smaller. I heard a guest whisper my name. Another laughed nervously. "Say no," I told myself. "Leave." My mother pressed the ring into my palm. "Do this, and we survive." My fingers shook. "And if I don't?" My father said, "Then we all fall." I looked at Daniel. "Do you want this?" He paused. "I want the noise to stop." I understood that. I nodded once. "I'll do it." The officiant smiled in relief. "Please join hands." My hand closed around Daniel's, light and careful. I felt watched, judged, trapped. "Repeat after me," the officiant said. I spoke words that tasted like ash. "I do." Daniel answered softly, "I do." Applause broke out, thin and confused. My mother exhaled. My father straightened. I stared at the ring on my finger. This isn't real, I thought. Daniel leaned closer. It's real enough. I felt something break and harden inside me at the same time. As we turned to face the crowd, I realized I hadn't saved my family. I had lost myself. Emily didn't answer my calls, and my phone buzzed once, then died. My mother whispered, "After this, we'll talk." I said, "After this, everything changes." My father frowned. "Don't threaten us." "I won't," I said. "I'm done." Daniel squeezed my hand. "Breathe," he said. I breathed. "I feel like I'm drowning." "You are," he said, "but you're still standing." The officiant announced, "You may kiss." I froze. My mother clapped too fast. "Go on." I looked at Daniel. "This is wrong." He nodded. "Then let it be wrong together." I leaned in, careful, brief. The room exhaled. A camera flashed. I flinched. "Smile," my father mouthed. I turned to the crowd. "Thank you," I said. My voice didn't sound like mine. Daniel whispered, "We will survive this." I answered, "I don't know how." He said, "We'll learn." 1. The music started. People stood. Chairs scraped. My mother cried. I couldn't tell why. I thought of Emily, running, free. I thought of myself, trapped, Quiet. Daniel said, "Look at me." I did. "Don't disappear," he said. I promised I won't. Inside, I knew that promise would cost me everything. The bells rang. The doors opened. I took one step, then another. Each step felt like a goodbye. By the time we reached the aisle, the man I had been was already gone. I didn't look back. The future waited, cold and bright and unforgiving before me today, alone breathing.